two Democratic operatives, Robert Creamer and Scott Fovel, were caught on tape talking about instigating violence at a Trump rally in Fovel's case. The last time we spoke, you said any violence is unacceptable. Have you looked into whether or not Democratic operatives paid by the Democratic National Committee were actually instigating these horrific actions, these violent actions we saw at Trump rallies? I mean, I'm sure you would agree. If that's true, that's really offensive.
Well, violence is unacceptable. These individuals no longer have a relationship with the DNC. They've never had a relationship with the Clinton campaign. And my understanding is the events that are referenced happened, I think, in February of last year. They did not have a contract with the DNC until June. But putting all that aside, this was, again, a video that was leaked out for the purpose of damaging the campaign. It is edited, so we don't know what the full context is. And there's no evidence whatsoever that we have been able to find that anyone ever did anything like this when they were working for the DNC.
But certainly, even if they weren't working for the DNC, if they were Democrats and they were instigating violence, this is horrific.
It's unacceptable for anyone from either party to do that. But again, no one who was working for the DNC or the Clinton campaign was doing that. This is, again, an attempt by Donald Trump to distract from the real issues of this campaign.
The videos are from a conservative group famous and infamous for undercover work. More on them in a minute, but let's start with the content. There are two videos and two allegations against Democrats. The first, that operatives for the left, especially this man, Scott Fovel, have sent people to Trump rallies to incite violence. To an undercover operative, Fovel says there's a script.
It's a matter of showing up to want to get into the rally in a Planned Parenthood t-shirt. Or, you know, Trump is a Nazi. You know, you can message to draw them out and draw them to punch you.
Fovel is a Democratic consultant who recently worked with a group called Mobilize, hired by the Democratic Party in June. It's not clear when the video was recorded, but Fovel says he works directly with the party and the Clinton campaign.
I answer to the head of special events for the DNC and the head of the special events and political for the campaign.
The Democratic National Committee flatly says Fovel was a subcontractor and denies supporting anything like what Fovel described. But what do we know from actual events on the campaign trail? Remember this? The clash of protesters, supporters, and police in March in Chicago. It led to Donald Trump canceling a rally. On the tape, another Democratic operative brings it up.
So the Chicago protest, when they shut all that was us. None of this is supposed to come back to us because we want it coming from people. We don't want it to come from the party.
That's the first charge, including the second charge in these videos about voter fraud. Scott Fovel seems to talk openly about bringing in people from one state to vote in another. He mentions creating paychecks and finding cars with in-state license plates.
Employer, you shell companies. Cars come from one company, the paychecks come from another.
At one point, he stresses the need to avoid prosecution. Today, the head of the Democratic Party released a statement saying, "We do not believe, nor do we have any evidence to suggest that the activities alleged occurred." The Clinton campaign also gave us a statement saying that those behind the video are known to be misleading, but that the campaign disavows the ideas and tactics in the video, calling them troubling even as a theory. One problem here is we do not have the raw footage from these tapes. We do not have the context for many of these words. We do know this. Scott Fovel has been fired from his job, and his boss, Bob Creamer, has ended his work on the election this year, saying he does not want to be a distraction.
But what he showed in these tapes was enough to have one man fired, another resign, and the DNC moving sharply away from the progressive lobbying group where these guys worked. First, the video. In this one released yesterday, a man named Scott Fovel, that's him, who was a contractor for Democracy Partners, is seen and heard discussing hiring people to attend Trump rallies and basically to start fights. This is a quote. He says, I mean, honestly, it's hard to get some of these assholes, is what he says, to pop off. It's a matter of showing up to get in their alley in a Planned Parenthood T-shirt or Trump is a Nazi T-shirt. What he's describing, Jake, is his plan to intentionally put people into a Trump event so that a fight could start, and that fight or that violence or that reaction by Trump fans would be caught on media cameras, and that would be the narrative for that campaign.